Chapter 13 The Making of Manav Pandit. Towards the end of my MBBS, I was clear in my mind which subject I aimed to specialize in. As a young medical recruit full of zeal, I had the passion to rid humanity of all suffering. I wanted to free the world of all disease and infirmity. But I also wanted the results of my efforts to be obvious and fast. Surgery is one branch where the patient is cured and the cure is evident and permanent. I was fascinated as well by the glamour and grandeur of being a surgeon. What else could be a more worthwhile life goal? The decision was thus made. The future that I envisioned for me was set. I committed myself to achieve it. My focus and energies got directed towards cracking the one examination that would help me accomplish my chosen goal, the PG entrance test. Nothing else mattered for me in that 1 year of internship, and I was duly rewarded at the end of it. When I came out after the counseling, I had bagged my chosen subject and I would be embarking on the journey of becoming the owner of my master's degree in general surgery. There was one little irregularity though. I did not get the MS seat in my chosen city, Bhopal, nearer to my hometown, Vidisha. People that I had known, places that I had lived all my life in, my parents and family, would all now have to stay behind. I, however, had no qualms. This wasn't the time to be disheartened about trivial matters. The 3 years of residency would hardly give me time enough to brood over such issues. It had to be slogging for 24 hours a day now, 7 days a week, exhausting all the physical and mental modalities. Catering to even the most fundamental of human necessities like food and sleep would seem far-fetched. I packed my bags and set out to realize my dream in positive anticipation towards an alien land. My train reached by mid-morning. Raipur was indifferent. All the parts and working elements of the giant gizmo that started functioning as perfectly as they did every single day. One person plus or minus hardly made any difference. I stood outside the railway station taking in what presented itself. There was no acquaintance even remotely residing there, and I wasn't expecting anyone to have come to receive me. Gibberish calls from a group of cab drivers and rickshaw pullers broke my line of thought. I hired one and asked to be taken to the JLN Medical College. Sitting in the cycle rickshaw, I had kept the hood down so that I could see around. My meager luggage, consisting mostly of books and just some little utilities, was crammed in front. I got lost in thought again. This was the place destined to be my home for the next 3 years. At the end of it, I shall emerge as someone above ordinary, someone capable of making a huge difference in people's lives. Someone needed by this society. A sense of elation surged inside me. All anxiety and apprehension vanished. The next few days were spent in settling down and starting work. There were 7 tiers of seniors in the department for me, the houseman. Junior RSO, senior RSO, post-PG registrars, assistant professors or lecturers, associate professors or readers, professors, and the head of department or the boss, as we called him. It soon felt as if all hell had broken loose. Duty hours or days were unaccountable. One duty, for instance, had 36 hours at a stretch. We were 6 housemen, 1 girl Kirti and 5 boys, 2 posted in each unit. Housemanship started moving at a fast pace. We started forgetting what a normal day in ordinary human existence was like. Day and night became incidental findings. They just happened very separate from our lives, which were spent solely in the department, shuttling between outdoor 3 general wards, 8 operation theaters, and post-operative ward, with a little time spent in the duty room or hostel or resident quarters. It needed patience and perseverance beyond definable capacity to keep myself level-headed in this whirlwind stressful scenario. Body and mind notwithstanding, I felt cheated. Was this that I had chosen for me? This ruthless life? Frustration and unrest started creeping in. The saving grace was a flicker of hope that it was just this 1 year to endure. Once we became seniors, things would improve. But with 11 more months to go, the shore seemed nowhere in sight. Could we hold the breaking point till then? Will I sustain? Time would only tell. One post-duty day, late in the evening, I found myself going out of the hospital free. Trying to decide what to do or maybe just get some sleep, I bumped into one of my friends, Abhigyan. We were posted together in the same unit. As we walked towards the gates of the residence quarters together, we realized that he too was in a similar state as mine. He proposed, "Let's go out for dinner." I was game. We went to a nearby dhaba, the common haunt for medicos. He ordered beer and chicken. It wasn't that I hadn't known alcohol or cigarette, but that was just once or twice during my undergrad days, more for fear of seniors than any personal inclination. But Abhigyan was a regular, I realized. I enjoyed the chicken, didn't see any harm in taking a few swigs or nor a couple of drags. It was a pleasant interlude in my otherwise lackluster life. Days and weeks went by and I found myself waiting for my free days when I would go for such welcome excursions with Abhigyan. Waiting? Yes. Craving? Certainly not. The frequency of these timeouts went on increasing, as did the guilt of doing something wrong. I convinced myself such harmless indulgence would only help me in coping with the pressing stress in the present circumstances and keep me balanced. In due course, I started keeping cigarette packets with me, in my room as also in my pockets. Tea or coffee breaks in the coffee house with friends also became cigarette breaks. Thankfully, the one thing that didn't change in this core was my sincerity towards my work, my patients, my colleagues, and seniors. I was strong-willed and would never fail myself in my own eyes. Superficially, however, a little recklessness and gay abandon were inevitable in a young boy full of dynamic testosterone bop on the inside of him. It was a rebellion, a way of getting back at life for treating me the way it was. 3 months had passed. I had amalgamated in the department completely. Every single day, the heterogeneity of patients with a vast range of severity in surgical ailments introduced us to the harsh reality of fickleness of life. The constant presence of death lurking round the corners bared the utter helplessness at times of us as surgeons and as persons. Life was merciless and death a certainty. We postponed it for most of our patients and rejoiced our successes. We operated upon them and nature healed. But the feeling of seeing a patient go home smiling, thanking you for your care, is unsurpassed. With every new admission we would get associated with that particular patient, the fight would begin. We would put all our forces into fighting the disease. Mostly we emerged victorious. But many a time, it was a lost battle, and despite all our efforts, we would lose the patients. I remember when I was posted in the post-op ward, there was a 2-year-old cute boy who had his colostomy closure done. He landed in septicemia and we couldn't save him. Every morning on reaching the hospital, I would peep inside the ward with palpitating heart, praying to find him alive, would go and talk to him, play with him, relieved that he was all right. But ultimately, we lost him. I was devastated. Going on with the routine with the grief weighing heavily upon my head was an impossible task. Seniors patted my back encouragingly, saying, "Do not worry, you'll harden up in time." Every moment was like walking a tightrope.